This is your inspirational vitamin. Get ready, take it. Ooh, yeah.
This is Brother Calvin Willis. I'm getting ready to give you your morning inspirational vitamin. So get ready and take it. Morning. I want to talk to you this morning, if you don't mind, for just a little while about a troubled soul. And this troubled soul is taken from the book of Matthew, beginning at verse number 36. And I want to read you a couple verses for just a few moments. The Bible said, "Then Jesus came with them to a place called Gethsemane and said to his disciples, 'Sit here while I go over there and pray.' And he took with him Peter, two sons of Zebedee, and he began to be sorrowful and deeply distressed. Then he said to them, 'My soul is exceedingly sorrowful, even unto death. Stay here, watch with me.'" Now we notice that Jesus took some of his disciples with him up to the Mount of Olives, a place called Gethsemane. This place called Gethsemane is known as a place where they would press olive oil, put it in a container and roll a stone around and press the oil out of the olive. It is indicative of what was getting ready to happen to Jesus. Jesus had already been anointed for his death, and he was getting ready to go through some insurmountable pressure that he had to face in his life, and it was troubling to his soul. Now understand this. Our soul is that part of us, where it's our intellect, our emotion, and our will. And that is what we call our soul. It is the you. And remember, Jesus was human. So it was that part of him, that human nature of him, that was troubled. What was the trouble? The trouble was knowing that he had to go to Calvary and die for the sins of the world. It was not that he was afraid of dying for the sins of the world. It was simply that he was afraid of the relationship that it was going to cause him to lose with his Father. The reason being is that he would have yours and my sins upon him, and he understood that his Father had nothing to do with sin. So it was that fact, that very fact, that caused his soul to be exceedingly troubled. You see, while Jesus walked this earth, it was always a relationship where he would say, "My Father, I do the thing that pleases my Father." But he understood that that very thing that pleased his Father would cause him to lose his life. And that was troubling, because losing his life would separate him from the Father. So he was hurting for that very fact. So he took three of his closest friends with him, Peter, James, and John, with him to that mountain. Tell them to sit right here, stay here while I go yonder and pray. And so his closest friends were supposed to be watching him, watching over his enemies that were just getting ready to take over him. And so when he came back from praying, he found his friend asleep, tired. Their soul was troubled as well too. And so he said, "Can you not watch for 1 hour?" And you know something, friends? It is troubling to know that those whom you trust in the most, that those whom you feel that will be by your side when you are going through your trial, when you are going through your trouble, when you are going through circumstances in life that you're about to face, and you want them to be there, and you come and find them not considerate of the very fact of what you're going through, that they fall asleep. Not only did they do this once, but they did this 3 times. 3 times. They fell asleep 3 times, my friend. Because Jesus said to them, "I must go and drink the cup that my Father has told me I have to drink." And that cup represented this trouble, this hardship, the pain that he had to go through. Some of those same friends, some of those same disciples had told him, especially Peter, that "I'll drink this cup. Matter of fact, I'll drink this cup even to death." And even if all of them, Peter said that, will not drink this cup, I'll drink it. I have you to know, Jesus looks at Peter and said, Peter, Simon, Simon, when the rooster crowed 3 times, you're going to have denied me. Peter didn't think that. He didn't think that. He said, I'm willing to die for you. How many times have you told your friends that I'll be right there by your side? I don't care what you go through in life. I'll be right there by your side. See, we have to understand, my friends, that sometimes our trouble can be troubled by circumstances in life that only one somebody that can get us out of that trouble. And that is our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. He went there. If you're troubled in your life, let me tell you something. Don't depend on your friends. Depend on the Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. And he can get you out of there. So you be blessed. Have a blessed day. Now I have given you your morning inspirational vitamin. So take a sip and you be blessed.
This is your inspirational vitamin. Get ready to take it.